Welcome back, everybody, here to your coverage of the Dota 2 Championship League. I'm your host, TobiWan, bringing your English live stream, and our last game coming up from the group stages. The playoffs have actually already begun. That's the game we had earlier, before this matchup, where we had Fnatic going up against Team Liquid in our first match of the quarterfinals, and of course that was the second and third teams playing off from their respective groups. Right now, though, we need to find out who is number one coming out from Group A, because Group A has themselves with a draw coming into our last match for the group stages, and it's Alliance going up against a team formerly known as Quantic, now known as Sigma for the purposes of this competition. I'll call them Sigma, but all the overlays will call them Quantic. But we'll get ourselves in. In fact, let's have a look at our lineup right now. So we bring up the boys from Quantic up in the lineup, led by their captain from France. It is a bucking mad, the big carry man, Soshka, Pass, and Fader, the two Germans. Fader, great solo mid. Pass always there to support hard, and Miguel, our Danish support, coming in for their lineup. And then our last team, which is the Alliance, the champions of TI3, the team which recently came back from Korea, mopping the floor with DK and looking almost undefeatable right now. We'll see how they're going to go here in this matchup up against Sigma. It is a best of one we are playing. There is no best of three. All the games from the group stages were best of threes, but these two teams had possibly the hardest time in the world scheduling a matchup against each other with so many big competitions coming up. Right now, we're actually playing, I believe, on a US East server because Alliance are actually on the west coast of the US. They've already gone over there for the MLG matches, which are coming up this weekend. So they're playing tonight matches, both the Dream League matches as well as here for the D2CL. They're playing them all from the US servers and just praying they get used to it very, very quickly. So that's what's going on right now. We're going to be having Venomancer and Mirana being picked up here from Sigma. So it's going to be another game when we see the Venomancer being selected. And all games, I think we had, what's it now, 4 for 4 games tonight. Mirana being picked up here. Visage and Clockwork for Alliance. So Clairvoyance, by the way, he also had to disappear. He's off to work. So it's just me for the last game of the night. But Clockwork, it's funny though, after he leaves, the Clockwork finally gets selected. This time will be for Admiral Bulldog. The Visage will be there for Arke. And Sigma, they start with their bands too, focusing on the Lifestealer as well as Nature's Prophet. They know Admiral Bulldog's great for that in the off lane. The Lifestealer is just a good hero right now. He works with everything, and it was what Loda's been picking up, I think, more than most other heroes of recent times. So, yeah. We'll have the Lifestealer coming up there. I'd actually like to see like the top 3 heroes that Loda has been given over recent times. Like just over this patch. Challenge for Nahas, our statsman for tonight. ET as well as Timbersaw now being taken out by Fader. So interested to see he takes out the Timbersaw. That means it's a direct ban up against S4. The Elder Titan's kind of in the same boat right there. It could be EGM taking up that role as the Elder Titan, but with this lineup from Sigma, it's highly doubtful. Pugner and Tree being removed by S4. He knows the potential that comes out. Sigma like to do it, and also virtus.pro enjoy doing it, where you just have these really tanky, unkillable style lineups that you also have a high level of push that comes in through something like the Pugner Blast. And then you got the counter-initiation through the Nether Ward, which would have been almost death for the Visage. But you also then take out the Bane. So another hero which Sigma like to do for extra control. So he'll be removed from this pool. And S4's got one last ban to take out, but it's really difficult to know what they're doing. So he takes out the Enchantress, feeling still the potential of an early game push, which means they back themselves later on, which almost makes me consider we're looking at an anti-mage pickup as our last one here for Loda. And I'm only saying that because if you're taking out heroes who have this direct form of control, the ability to push early on, then you go down a different line and say, well, okay, like it's
10 seconds remaining.
If we want to go late game, anti-mage is the way to do it. Mirana, we know, tails off in the later portion of the game as well. So, yeah. Turns out, by the way, Nahaz is throwing me out some extra stats on my side. So, Loda's top 6.79 heroes. Lifestealer, he is 14 for 1 with the Lifestealer. A 5 for 1 with the Juggernaut, and then a 2-2 with the Gyro. So, can I explain to you right there what he likes to pick up? I know I had a chat to Loda too about the Gyrocopter. This was back during the last Starlighter finals. And Lotus still enjoys the gyro, still feels like the hero's got a lot of potential, but you've just got to have a big-ass team fight, which is going to win straight away. There's our Juggernaut, so he's 5-1 on that guy, and we'll see if he goes 6-1 tonight. Just to also put in perspective, what is at risk during this game? What's at risk during this game is if you lose this game, you'll be playing up against Na'Vi. You will be playing up against Na'Vi in the lower part of the bracket, of the single elimination part of the bracket, and that'll be in the quarterfinal matchup. And you lose that, you're out. In fact, if you lose any of these matches, you're out. Once we get ourselves into the semi-finals, we'll have our third place decider matchup, so you're not instantly dropped, but you'll have the chance to play out for the $7,000 or the $3,000 is what you're searching for. But it's $25,000 for first prize, $15,000 for the second, and that's not taking into account the 50% or 25% money from the revenue of the ticket. So that's what goes in that way. But right now, yeah, Liquid, they've managed to advance themselves forward. The winner will play up against them, and the loser will play up against Na'Vi. So either way, it's going to be a rough game if you win or lose. But having Liquid up against Alliance, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would really enjoy that one. Or having Alliance drop down, that's the other thing. If Alliance lose this, we have Alliance versus Na'Vi in the first round of the single elimination bracket. So life will be very, very tough for all concerned if that happens. Right now, though, Sigma, third hero pick time. Taking some sweet-ass time to decide on this one, too. With the Juggernaut pickup, there's a lot of stayability, and they've got to find a way to control the Juggernaut through his immunity, which doesn't exist. Not yet. And with the Bane taken out, it's going to be a lot harder to find, too. You know, also with the Enchantress ban out, it also takes out another possibility, the possibility of having a whole lot of trolls on the field, which means if Sigma do want to do it, they can go for the other two controls which come out of the jungle, and that's an Enigma, or it's a Chen. That's their options right now. You've also got the other option for Alliance if they actually pick up the Chen themselves. They've got a lot of pushing power, they've got a lot of survivability too. They just need someone that's going to combine up nicely with the Clockwork, or give something else to either the Clockwork or the Juggernaut. And Magnus is sitting at the back of my mind for this. When you've got NAP available, you've got S4 on the field as well, so of course you'd like to play it. But if you've got that ability to jump in and give a high level of control, but more importantly, a buff up to the Juggernaut, you give him, without having to go Battle Fury, a cleave, you're just going to town this. Juggernaut can then go like first item Desolator up against a hero like an Alchemist, be very, very effective. And yeah, we'll have the backup, which will come from the Chen anyway. So as far as Hand of God goes, it just means you're running a 3 melee hero core up against a Venomancer and a Mirana who could just keep kiting you out. And that'll be the bigger problem for Alliance. They'll have to have a good initiation in from the Clockwork to make it work for them. And S4,
5 seconds
well,
remaining.
last selection to come up for this phase. Does he go for the secondary support and keep his mid solo? Yes, he does. We're going to go Lich, which means now dual lanes and OD from Fader.
Alliance's turn to ban.
He's happy to select the OD even before the last pickup here. Now, that's some balls, because you're going to ban out the Razor here. It's the 5th selection. That's very, very obvious.
10 seconds remaining.
But this could also change up the way the mid lane works. You've already got Alliance prepping themselves to run these dual lanes, because you can do it with Visage and Juggernaut. And if Clockwork goes middle lane, he starts burning off the mana of OD, which is where S4 could end up right now, then OD will probably not be anywhere near as effective as you want him to be. We still need a good offlane hero to go up against the Alchemist. Windrunner's still a possibility here. If it is going to be Admiral Bulldog, the Bounty Hunter is still in the pool as well. That means more melee. In fact, yeah, Fader isn't even going to ban against it with the Razor. He takes out the Bounty Hunter instead. He thinks towards the offlane of Admiral Bulldog and says there'll be a Clockwork in the middle lane up against the OD. Alliance did a very similar ban to DK during the Nexon Invitational matches too. Nexon Super matches, sorry. So, yeah. S4's time is now. S4's time is now.
5 seconds remaining.
One last selection. Do we see the Clockwork in mid? We see the SF pickup and a straight pickup. They didn't even hesitate for that one. It's going to be the Clinks as the last one. And with Soshka, who doesn't have his correct name on, so we can hate him for that one later. But that is now going to be Soshka as the Clink, so we'll give him the safe lane. Miguel and Mad could be teaming up to go on the off lane, and Pass will take a support Alchemist in this game. While the SF, it will be played by the mid solo, by the looks of it. So yeah, S4 will now take up the role as the Shadow Fiend. His DPS, if he can get the souls early on, is fine. He doesn't need his mana pool to fight up against the OD, even though the burst damage really does help him off. They can run dual lanes to start with in that mid. So give the Lich and try and harass out the OD in the early stages. And then Visage, also a hero that can just smoke and rotate, but he'll want to stick with the Juggernaut. An off-lane Clockwork's going to be a real rough time. Soshka's damage going to be more than enough to just push Admiral Bulldog out of that lane. So success chance of this top lane, I'm not quite sure how high it's really going to be for Admiral Bulldog. Their other option is they run aggressive tri-lane from Alliance. So they push EGM or they push Lich as well as Loader up to the top lane. That'd probably be a lot safer for them, but I know they want to secure the farm up on Loader, so they'll do it a different way, and they're going to run defensive tri-lane on bot. Which means this off lane, which is a dual lane coming out from Sigma, is going to get crushed. If this lane gets first blood for Alliance, then Sigma are in a lot of trouble. If Sigma can stay alive for a while, give that time for Clinks to farm up, get his Orchid timing right so he can rotate around, then Soshka can start killing people off, and then Mad can also do it, Fader can do whatever he wants to out of that middle lane. Life could be a lot easier for him. You see Fader also preparing himself with his item build. The 3 shared tangos and then the Null Talisman. He knows in the early stages of that mid, he's not going to get harassed down. The SF's just looking for CS. So consumables, he'll only have to munch in a tango every 60 seconds. That's the goal right now. Well, Miguel and Mad, you're going to be burning through a lot more than what they've got. Tangos as well as the salve. We got movement. Yeah, RK. He's going to help out the middle lane to start with. Some good experience to start out for S4. Admiral Bulldog might ask for the help a little bit later on once he realizes what lanes he's up against. But the search for the runes is also going to be there. And the rune is not on top. It will be a bottom rune. It'll be an illusion rune. Which means there's going to be no camp spawning up here for Alliance in the first wave. Illusion. There's your middle lane already, so 31 points of experience for both. And they are going to... Okay, so they are going to try and run this Lich in the mid game, in the mid lane, just early on. It's just trying to push the OD out, so he can't just imprison one and then say he's got control over the entire lane. Looks to be the goal right now. That's a crazy record. But considering Alliance's recent games, I'd actually like to see the last time Alliance... Actually, I could look that up myself. The last time Alliance found themselves with a loss, they'd be VP. EG on the 11th of the 11th. EG beat them 1-0. And they also lost to Na'Vi the game before that in the 10th of the 11th. So, yeah. Alliance don't really have a great winning streak, but considering the stat with the Shadow Fiend, maybe that makes that seem a little bit better now. There's Mover coming in towards the middle lane. It's coming in from Mad. He's trying to use himself as a little bit more bait right now. Throws the Gale out, but it does no damage. Level 1 Gale does no damage. There's no poison sting, there's no nothing. So Gale does very, very little. And because of that, Loader and EGM realize they can attack directly towards Miguel and try and force him out of this lane. Concoction on the top lane, Admiral Bulldog. No cogs available, which means now Soshka has to burn through a decent chunk of mana to keep throwing out those searing arrows like he has been by the looks of it. But Clockwork survives. Stout Shield pops the salve. Still got tangos up his sleeve as well. It's not a great start for Sigma. I really thought they could be a lot more aggressive with this, but considering they're running dual lanes, just battening down the hatches. Pass starts with some pulls, but that's only a single pull from him. Which means the control of the creep wave is going to slip a little bit. But Fader is now going to be harassed down by the Lich Frost. Just a straight up Frost Blast. With Miguel and Mad on this bottom lane too, Loader knows getting in close is very, very difficult. With the Poor Man's Shield, it's not as bad. And he also went Healing Ward at his second level. So he's got immunity when it comes to the spin. And he knows he's got the extra life points if he can survive the initiation from Sigma. But that means that he has to survive through, well, he doesn't even care, does he? It's the Gale, it's the movement slow. And the Arrow is the only thing that does the damage out from the abilities from Sigma right now. But once Matt hits level 2, which now he does, Poison Sting comes up, and now he becomes a little bit more of a nuisance in this lane. This will be able to harass Loader a hell of a lot better. A lot better than the Gale. Ruben's rotated down, it's pass coming in. Concoction prepping right now on S4. Easy to gank up Hero. RK got to add a little bit of extra space. Frost over towards Fader. S4 turns for one quick raise, and RK, they actually drop Fader down very, very low right there. Pass has to give him the salve while on the bottom lane. Spin out from Loader. Mad's really, really low right now, but EGM coming down too. He's got Grave Chill and Soul Assumption, so he uses the Grave Chill and Miguel. He's trying to force this leap away, and he's actually successful at doing so. So they both drop down pretty low. EGM will cancel off the salve bucking Mad, but it's already done the job. And he'll steal off that haste stream from the bottom river.
Nothing faster.
So he might consider coming in towards the mid lane, but he's got no mana. He doesn't even have a Gale right now as he runs in, so it's going to be harassment damage to EGM with the Poison Sting. Grave Shield now going to be used by EGM. Arrow will fly. Completely misses it. Hits the range creep instead. And Mad wants to keep up with this harassment. Going in deeper, and Loader puts the healing ward in the tree line so it cannot be attacked. But EGM will get his regeneration from that. And Loader's going to come and stay in close enough to it as well. So he hugs on the tower. The other one hugs inside the tree line. But they both get the heal from this. Now Loader, no mana for a spin, so EGM's got to come back out again. Attacks directly toward Bucky Man. He took the aggro from the tower, and he's in trouble because EGM's going to be there. First blood, the arrow flew in from Miguel. At least got himself a good stun on EGM, but EGM, he's still very tanky, but one level up in that Gravekeeper's cloak. So they could not pick him off straight away. And that means no deaths on this bottom lane. Healing Ward is still on cooldown, and EGM's just going to give his salve over to Loader and then leave. He'll TP back a little bit later on. Middle lane's 10-7, going the way of OD. And now, in fact, they're both leveled up. 11-7 from both players. Both Fader and the SF. So this is normally a hero which you pick up because you know it has such strength in laning. But it's just not there when Lich keeps stealing his, stealing the experience, pushing it into S4. And S4 is sitting there with, well, now he's got, hopefully, more souls. He's trying to get some last hits out of here. But he's sitting there with 12 souls already, so that's not too bad for him. And with Shadow Razors, slowly just trying to harass down Fader, who is running a bottle, so the only way to win that lane is to beat him straight away. Speaking of beating him up, Admiral Bulldog staying close in on Patch, that Battery Assault. He needs a rocket, and he got a kill. This guy just got a solo kill up against a dual lane. A lane where the Clinks, that his damage output should be more than enough to keep Clockwork away from the top. But this Clinks is walking around with 19-4, so he's got good CS up his sleeve, but Clockwork, even without level 6, manages to find pass too far out. I think I also mentioned this before when it was run. DK ran it up against Alliance before. Yep, middle lane, Gale, completely off target from Mad. Top lane back to it. Sochka, maybe this time he can get it, but with the dust up, no he can't. The 3 levels up in Battery Assault. Admiral Bulldog now has 2 for 0. EGM came in as support. He's already 1-0-1 on the board. Alliance are moving freely everywhere across the map, finding kills, finding experience, and more importantly, finding farm on their key heroes. Look at Loader just pushing Miguel out of that bottom lane. Miguel will now buy up a bottle. Not something you really want to be having to do on a Mirana, because now you don't have your item farm. It's this more slower kind of progress. It's security for your lane, but not bringing anything else into it. Like, it's so you can live and stay on the front lines, but it's not bringing kills. It's not initiating items. It's nothing. It's not damage dealing. Visage dies in the top lane in the meantime, so Sigma get themselves on the board. What did he buy up? He bought an Known Recipe before he died.
Stop it.
But at least that's a good kill coming the way of the Clinks. Going to help on its way to getting up into this this Orchid he needs. But then again, is Orchid really the best way for him to go? He needs mana regeneration, and he wants initiation. And Orchid is actually the way he has to go. On both either Lich or the Visage, not even for the cause. Oh, Mad! He took every single hit from Loader. Loader's got 1 stick touch. They picked up some Rana too. EGM's in close. He's already summed up his Familiars. Fader may as well drop this ulti out. It may not be enough damage to pick off Loader, and then the Familiars, they drop. And they block Fader in. They just got away with murder. And not even just one murder. Like, this is a chain killer alliance. Diving under the tier 1 tower. Clink's now in trouble up on the top lane. Admiral Bulldog. It's like hook shot going to work. Like, this lane wasn't supposed to work for him. He's a strength-based hero going up against, well, I suppose at the end of the day, Klink's harassment's okay, but they needed something more, like Alchemist's rotations. We saw him concoct stun once, and was able to be tanked up by the Clockwork. And this because Sigma, like you saw it with their banning, they really thought that Clockwork was going to be a middle lane, and have a basic off-laner. Which maybe then the Alchemist concoction would have done a lot more too, but in this scenario, it just hasn't done it. TP's coming up to the top lane. EGM's coming in to buy a little of extra space. With that Grave Chill, he's got already a decent amount of charge on the Soul Assumption. That damage, it's enough. Soshka's looking for some revenge on the EGM. Needs another Searing Arrow. That last one wasn't enough. EGM will survive. He was so far away, though, he didn't get the Urn Charge for it. Well, he might be a little bit unhappy about that, especially after he just purchased it up. And now boots in for RK in the middle lane. He's solo farming up this mid. Daytime will arrive, which means now they can see the gank coming from a little bit further away. But S4's already backed up. He's got 3 bottle charges available right now. He's going to use most of them. Coming back into this middle lane. While Lich, arrow, too early. But then again, it hit on S4. They could find themselves with a double kill right now. I really think S4 thought that was going to catch on somebody else, but Admiral Bulldog jumped in with a hook shot. So it's still only a 1 for almost 1. There it is, straight. 1 for 1 trade, passed in too close. Battery Assault's picking him off. Mad, he's staying in close too with that Battery Assault and then going back into work. OD, there's going to create 1 race. More damage, it's not enough. Fader will get the kill on the SF, but he's going to lose his life. Grave Chill slowing him down. Soul Assumption damage in 1 second time, and the damage, even if it's minimal, range. Boom. OD's imprisonment was still on cooldown, so he couldn't hide himself from the DPS coming his way. So it's 11 for 3 right now. And Sigma, they'll lose their tier 1 tower in the bottom lane. Fortification, the Familiars have to stop attacking for a while. But the Familiars are helping Loda push out this bottom lane, who's still got ulti, by the way. Gets the last hit in the tower, can phase boot up. If he cleans up this creep wave, he'll kill the Mirana. It's just that simple. Even 3 swings with the ulti. The fact he's running around with phase boots means he's going to be able to keep up. Again, this Gale from Mad, I'm not sure. A little bit off target. But Alliance now push out the tier 1 tower in mid. EGM's got his Familiars up with a lot of burst damage. And now, he got a glimpse of Pass. But what's Pass going to do? He's a level 5 Alchemist, now prepping a concoction. OD, oh, Fader! Clockwork's now going to latch on him. Imprisonment goes on cooldown, the Gale will fly out, but it stopped the concoction and every bit of damage it was meant to do. Which means Alliance just turned and just great counter initiation after Fader just gave him a little bit of extra time. I don't think Fader saw it coming. I think he couldn't. If he saw it coming, he would never have done the imprisonment. But that basically, not only, it got himself killed. It didn't kill up the Alchemist because Alchemist already threw the concoction and ran away. So it's like, oh, I can harass with this. And that was it. And now you get SF move up towards the top lane. Mr. Level 4. So 4 points up in the Necro Mastery. Not max souls yet. Needs another 3 souls before he can do so. But his right-click damage right now, not to mention his burst damage he can dish out to the Klinks, is beyond that of what the Klinks can deal with. Mirana TP's top lane. They saw the SF up here farming up. They want to do something about it, but at the same time, Alliance is initiating. They have an Invis rune up from a Clockwork. Are we seeing smoke movement? If Clockwork stick continues to remain where he is. Pass revealed EGM. This time he will get connected on the stump, but they've already picked up the Clink. So the DPS that goes down, Admiral Bulldog, Battery Assault, EGM, he's just so tanky. One charge gets him alive a little bit longer. The Familiar stuns too. Admiral Bulldog, hook shot is already on cooldown. He has to use it to jump in point blank range. But it becomes a 1-for-1 trade, a support hero for your main DPS or a timing hero for Orchid. He goes down. Fader rotated up to try and help, while Arcade got the experience in the middle lane. And Loda hasn't even left the bottom lane. We talked about it before, saying who was the hero who picked up the most amount of Aghanim Scepter in the game of Dota 2. Well, the player who did it, and it's going to be Loda. He's now walking around with almost his Aghanim Scepter. At the speed these towers are going down, I can say almost. TP out from the OD. He goes bottom lane. Lotus just going to spin and TP out. Fader can't imprison him. He can't do anything to him. And Soshka's trying to remain as close as he possibly can up on this top lane. And he can pull a little bit of farm out from the jungle. This is definitely not one of these games where you want to be picking up a hand of Midas on that guy. Aghanim Scepter's already been built into by the Visage. So we have double Aghanims on the way. RK comes top with a 3-0-4-1 build. Allows for very easy pushing. Mirana ulti going to be used. They're trying to go on S4. I don't think they're ready for this though. Admiral Bulldog's got hook shot. If Soshka initiates, that's going to be 3 guys caught inside of a cog. He's going to jump up right now, Admiral Bulldog. Hook shots in. He keeps Alchemist there with a Frost Blast as well. Lich throws the ulti up a little bit further. S4, his death ulti goes. Miguel, he's low on life. Frost, he needs mana. RK doesn't have mana, but he's got right-click damage with Admiral Bulldog also throwing out rockets, having a search. Soshka, have they got Gem? Have they got Dust? They got something. Got Sentry Ward on the other side of the tree line. That's what they got. Loader came up towards the top lane as well. So Alchemist dies, Mirana dies, but they did lose the SF for that. So that's a bit of a blow coming the way of Alliance, but at the same time now they push out this top tower with a healing ward behind them. Familiar's got their bonus damage too, and there's no fortification available here from Sigma. So they can might try and fight this one. Soshka's on the back end of the lines here. The healing ward's about to go down if Mag get close enough. Fader, imprisonment. Juggernaut still got level 1 ultimate available. Admiral Bulldog, Cogs. Burns off Fader a little bit, but that means Fader's also separated from the rest of the pack. Spin from Loader. He's right-clicking first. Now he goes in the spin. Phase boots. They're on cooldown. He can't keep up with them. He's already lost his Lich, and now he's going to get imprisoned up. There's no spin. There's no ulti, and he'll get concocted up. Familiars can't help that Loader, and the arrow flies in from the Mirana, able to kill him off. So 2 heroes lost for Alliance. They try to force out the top tower. All 5 players from Sigma were committed to defend that top tower, though. So that's one upside for Alliance. But that's also now 2 of the cores from Alliance dropping in the recent amount of minutes. So 2 kills, 2 minutes for the cores. And that's the SF going down, as well as the Juggernaut. Clockwork's backed up. He's almost... We're going to actually get a 3 Aghanim Scepter lineup right now. Because Clockwork's building into 1 as well. S4 goes to standard, needs his BKB. Because S4 after death, he didn't even come up towards the top lane to help out. He TP'd to the tier 1 tower in the bottom lane, just farmed it up. That's why he's now sitting at 7.2k net worth, so even after death, he's still stretched. Like, look at the difference between the primary carries right now of Sigma and Alliance. You got 7.3k gold. In fact, it's not even the primary carry, it's your mid-solo. Your mid-solo battle is even more different. It's 3,000 experience between the 2 of them. And then the Juggernaut and the Clinks are the ones who have to keep up with each other. And the difference of that one, 1,800.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Just shows you where that money's coming in.
Are fortified.
And that's still only a, well, it's a two tier 1 tower advantage. It's about to become 3 with that mid tower being pushed down. The bottom lane can't push fast enough. With Familiars and S4 pushing it out, well, they're actually going to TP some support in. S4 mobs up the creep wave, so he's already back at his full 36 souls. Pass is hoping someone's going to come in. As the spread reveals the fact he's there, and Alliance have no intention of coming down there to fight him. They're currently winning on tower trade. They have Loader farming up on the top lane, who's only 200 gold away from having his Aghanim Scepter up and running. And the bottom lane with the wards, yeah, they'll take it. But damage has already been dealt to the tier 2 tower in the mid lane. Presence of the Dark Lord's also now starting to come into effect. Frost Armor from RK also coming into effect, not finishing up his 4th level up in the Frost Blast before that. And with the Mirana ultimate, Clinks is staying in close. He doesn't have his Invis just yet, now he does, but he's also got that Death Pact buff up, it's going to wear off in a moment. Fires 1 arrow, but that wasn't searing. So he doesn't pick off that Familiar. A straight drop down by EGM keeps the Familiar alive. So it's important money which doesn't come into the bank account of the Clinks. And he needs every bit of money he can get. He's just kiting at this guy so he can Death Pact it. The middle lane, 4 heroes showing themselves, and they're going to see Fader. Clockwork misses on his latch. S4's up on the high ground too. And Sosh just wants to force at the tier 1 tower. Force it to come over the river. Loader has an Aghanim Scepter level 2 ultimate. S4 winding it up right next to Pass! Obliterates him with the Lich Holder coming down as well. Odioldi will drop the BKB from S4, allows him to stay in the middle of this fight. He's already picked him. They've got the whole shebang. It's a double kill. Loader in through the rear. The Alchemist stun had little to no effect. And Sigma don't get a single kill in this fight. S4 survives, even when they did decide to try and throw what they had after he revealed himself. It was just... Centric wards went down from Alliance. There was no vision from Sigma. They didn't see S4 with that invis rune just right next to him. And now the tier 2 tower will go down the middle lane. And game be hard. Game be very, very hard for Sigma.
Middle tower has fallen.
And now they're backed into a corner with Morano, who doesn't have any kind of farm up for DPS. Mad, who's got 4 points up at least in his play calls. That's the upside for the Venomancer. He's got arcane boots, and that's it. Pass has treads and a stick with a branch. One for each hand. And then the feet. Top lane. Our Clinks that are meant to have the Orchid up is getting nowhere near it. And as he keeps dying, he's going to get further and further away. Matt's going to attempt to try and go for Roshan, but it's being watched. Observers and sentries, they're seeing them all come down here. The DPS, remember, is still not high enough they can get a quick and easy kill on Roshan. So the rockets fly down, and Alliance will take the tier 2 tower, and they've got a choice right now. Either they come in to try and stop this Roshan attempt, or they push the tier 3 towers. And Loda, he's going to come in and try and stop the Roshan attempt. With just heroes down here with his Aghanim Scepter as well, they give him the vision. He can jump in here while the top lane's now being forced out. Loda will try and contest this. If he ulties in for this, he's actually going to maybe... Oh, he does it early. And then Fader separates himself. No imprisonment. Miguel, sentry wards go down. Frost and attack. They lose 2 of their cores while trying to go for Roshan. Concoction. GG, they call it. They realize that they're too far away. Alliance will secure themselves a date with Team Liquid, where they will battle out to see who goes into the grand final. While Sigma will be finding themselves a scheduled date with Na'Vi, the winner of which will face up against Speed Gaming in the semi-final. So we have 3 teams for the semi-final for the D2CL. Alliance, Liquid, Speed Gaming, and 1 last slot to fill. It'll either be Na'Vi or Sigma. But that's going to bring an end to our stream for the day for D2CL. I hope you've enjoyed it, peoples. Are we really having Mad fighting on to the bitter end? Fader was the one that called the GG and just left at the end of all of that. Oh, I was really expecting something different here from Sigma. I still stand by my fact, and I have not been proven wrong yet, that a support Alchemist just doesn't function. It just does not function. It couldn't harass him out. It couldn't push out the top lane. It wasn't possible. Admiral Bulldog, and a hooky. He hookshot him, but he could have picked up his Aghanim Scepter before he did it. But they've managed to pull out a lot of different aggro. What was that? Auto attack on Searing Arrows? That's definitely being controlled. Already drops the ulti out. But this is all just Mad playing around with the rest of the Alliance guys. Imprisons it actually stops that attack. No spin available. The Admiral Bulldog should go down to orb attacks. But it looks like Venomancer's having a better time doing this by himself as opposed to everybody else. But Loda, now he'll get his revenge. He's still very low on life. What is it? Okay. I think he's... No, he hasn't DC'd out. He's just taking out buildings. Oh, the taunt! Matt's just having himself some fun at the end here. Loda's going to deny himself for the fountain, but it's already basically mid-racks to go down. So, there we go. Proper GG call coming out. And we can end this matchup. But Sigma, back to the drawing board. This game was a long time in the making. Like, we actually took about 2 weeks to schedule a proper time for this game. Life just be very, very busy, always around November and December. And of course, you can check out everything else we're going to be doing. I believe our next matchup, the Na'Vi matchup up against Sigma, is meant to take place tomorrow night. That's the scheduled time I have listed, so that's when our second preliminary matchup is meant to happen. So, yeah, keep your eyes peeled on this live stream tomorrow evening. It'll start anywhere between 18 as well as 21 CET. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. And the winner of that match will play up against Speed Gaming. And we're into our end playoffs. There's only now 3 best-of-3s left, as well as 1 best-of-5 grand final. That's what's coming your way. It's short, it's sweet, and it's the D2CL. Hope you've enjoyed our stream for tonight, and I'll catch you all next time on the live stream.